Hello, this is Fred Davis speaking to you from the locomotive cab of the CNR's new Super Continental as we move westward across the province of Saskatchewan.
At the throttle is veteran engineer Boomer Cardwell, who today completes 50 years of railroading. That's half a century of service with Canadian National Railways. Boomer is a spry 65 years of age, and he's due now for retirement. So this is his last trip.
Very shortly now, we'll be pulling into Melville, Saskatchewan, a small community whose main purpose it is to serve the railroad. We're stopping off at Melville to talk to some of the people who make railroading their career, just like Boomer here, for example.
Fred, I want you to meet my wife.
Oh, how do you do, Mrs. Cardwell?
How do you do?
This gentleman come up from Rivers all the way with me in the last trip.
Oh, lovely. I hope you weren't too rough on him.
No, it was a nice ride. You must be very proud of your husband, Mrs. Cardwell.
Yes, indeed.
Happy to have him home all the time now?
Very. We have so many plans.
Oh, then you're not going to be able to sit around and do nothing, Boomer.
Oh, no, I got lots of gardening to do.
Oh, she going to crack the whip on you?
Oh, yeah, she cracked the whip.
Well, Boomer, you meet her.
Thanks, Bob.
And you're carrying green for me.
Thanks, Bob.
You must be Bob McGrath. Boomer's been telling me about you. Nice to meet you, Bob.
Bob takes over.
Oh, he takes over from here, does he? Oh, that's fine. Well, I'll see you folks later.
Okay, bye.
Bye now. Oh, congratulations, Boomer.
Thanks, boys.
Congratulations. Good luck,
boys.
Along Canadian Railway main lines, coast to coast, there are spotted every 150 miles or so small communities like Melville, Saskatchewan. Their reason for existence mainly is to serve and service the railway, which in turn serves the surrounding area. I was soon to learn that there was a good deal of activity in a railway divisional point like Melville. One of my first contacts here was Bert Turner, who has been with the CNR for 30 years. Bert is general car foreman and supervises the inspection and repairs of all rolling stock, which takes in all freight and passenger equipment.
This switch crew, Fred, is making up a train for the north. Points such as Yorkton, Flin Flon, and Hudson Bay.
Is that just a matter of putting the cars together?
Oh, no, it's not quite that simple. They have to put them in blocks so that they can take them off at intermediate points without disturbing the whole train.
Oh. I noticed when the super was in, Bert, that there were some men looking underneath. What were they checking for?
Well, they're looking for defects in couplers, draft gears, and wheels, things like that. Just the same as this fellow's doing over here, inspecting the freight cars for defects in the wheels and draft gears and such. You see, Fred, at points like Melville, they make a thorough inspection of all rolling stock.
He's not wasting any time. Can they tell at a glance that everything is all right?
Oh, sure. They come along and they can pick out defects on couplers or wheels or such things. And there are times when they can pick out defects without even seeing them.
How's that possible?
Well, say, for instance, there's a shell on that wheel there. That's a chipped out or broken flange or tread on the wheel. And it's down on the bottom of the wheel where they can't see it. Some other symptoms on the truck, such as shiny brake hangers or trucks the springs, they could tell there's something wrong with that truck, and they would look further, find the defect.
I remember a conductor once saying that we were delayed by a hot box. What's that, Bert?
Why, that's a hot journal bearing. They're fixing one down here. Come on, I'll show you now.
You see, Fred, this is the journal, which is the end of the axle, and it comes into this metal box here, which is the journal box, and it has waste and oil in it. And if for some reason the oil doesn't get to the bearing, then that's when you get a hot bearing.
That's the hot box, eh?
That's right.
Well, there's certainly a lot to check, isn't there?
Sure is.
Bert, one of the reasons I came down here was to find out something about this dieselization program. Who could help me with that?
Well, that would be the road foreman of engines, Bert McKee. You'll find him down the other end of the yard in the roundhouse.
Hey, Johnny, just hold her a minute. I want to bring Fred Davis up to have a look around.
Okay, bring him up, Bert.
Boy, this sure looks complicated. I'd hate to try to run one of these, Bert.
Oh, it's not so tough, Fred, and you get used to it.
I guess I could shovel the coal at any rate.
Well, you wouldn't have to worry about that here, Fred.
Why not?
We've converted all these coal-burning engines into oil burners.
Oh, never thought of a steam locomotive burning oil. Is this a big advantage?
Oh, definitely.
In what way?
Well, from an economical standpoint, we find it much cheaper.
Any better for refueling?
Well, with the old coal-burning type, why, 65 miles without refueling.
And you had to stop for more coal, eh?
That's correct. But with these, why, we make about 135 miles.
Once a steam locomotive has a major overhaul, how far can it go?
Well, this type of an engine gets a check after each trip. And we get about 75,000 miles before a major overhaul.
Are your new diesels much better than that?
Oh, there's no comparison.
Wow.
They have their periodic mileage checks, but we get close to 1 million miles
1 million?
without a major overhaul.
That works out to about 10 times as much as the steam then, eh?
Yes, that's right.
Should be pretty proud of that, I guess.
We sure are. Would you like to see one of our new diesel locomotives?
Sure would.
Come on over and take a look at one.
Fine.
Oh, Bert,
Yeah.
you suppose anybody'd mind if I blew this whistle?
No, help yourself, Fred.
Okay. Is this the whistle chain?
Yeah, that's it. Just pull it down.
Thanks very much, Johnny.
Happy now, Fred?
That's something to write home about. You ride in comfort in a cab like this. Well, Bert, is the principle of a diesel locomotive pretty much the same as any diesel engine, like in a truck, for example?
Much similar, Fred. Only the diesel engine on this locomotive generates the electricity.
Oh, then it's the electricity that actually drives the train, is it?
Right.
Oh. Now, what about all these controls? Are they very complicated?
Very simple, Fred. Come on over here and I'll show you how to operate them. I'll learn you how to run this thing in one easy lesson. This is your control panel, Fred. All these switches pertain to the movement of this locomotive.
Mm-hmm.
This is your headlight switch, control switch, generator field switch, fuel pump switch. And this is your defroster listed, and I cut her in.
Boy, that's certainly powerful enough, isn't it?
Now we have an attendant call here. When we want our helpers up from the engine room, all I do is call him up.
And they come a-running, eh?
That's right.
Where's the throttle, Bert?
This is the throttle here. It's got 8 positions on it.
When you've got it wide open, how fast will it go?
Freight locomotive, 65 miles an hour. And a passenger locomotive, Fred, will do around 90.
Oh. How about these 2 levers here?
Those are your air brakes, Fred. This is your independent brake valve for the control of your locomotive. And this is your automatic brake valve for your control of your train.
Is there any kind of an automatic cutout, Bert, like they have on streetcars? You know, if the operator, say, faints or takes a heart attack, is there something that'll stop everything?
Oh, yes, you mean the dead man control, Fred?
That's it, dead man control.
It must be held down at all times. This pedal is allowed to come up, everything stops, and your train goes into emergency.
I see. I remember in the old days of taking steam locomotives over mountains, if you had a particularly long haul, sometimes they'd put on 2 or 3 locomotives. Can you do that with a diesel?
Oh, yeah, we can do that. Come on out and I'll show you how it's done.
Okay.
Now, actually, Fred, this represents 2 locomotives. If we required more power, all we got to do is stick on another unit. Now, if this was steam power, we would require an engine crew on each locomotive. That's the beauty of diesel. We can put as many units as we like onto, and the control will still be from the leading cab on the front unit, with 1 engine crew operating.
Well, tell me, Bert, have there been many layoffs as a result of this dieselization?
There may be a few laid off in the large cities where the major overhauling is done.
Well, I imagine this changeover has been pretty gradual, wouldn't you say, Bert?
Yes, Fred, very gradual. We've been at this program now for, I think, 8 years. And this is a 25-year program.
Oh.
But who knows? We may never complete it. There'll probably some other type of power will come in that'll be much superior to the diesel.
That new diesel horn hasn't very much character, Bert. I imagine a lot of people will be sorry to see the old steam whistle disappear.
That's right, Fred. But we're working on that problem right now.
Oh?
And they practically developed a horn that'll sound as close to the old steam locomotive whistle as possible.
Isn't that amazing?
Hello? Just a minute. Curly! Curly, you're called.
Phone's over here, remember, Dad? Hello? Extra 3575 East, Fireman Miller, for 19 o'clock. Okay.
Dad, I have your lunch all packed.
Okay, Mom. Dad, I'd like to meet Fred Davis. He's been waiting to see you. Oh, yes, I heard you were in town, Fred. Glad to meet you.
They told me you've got quite an unusual railroad family here.
Oh, we have just about enough to make up the whole train crew. Sit down, make yourself at home, Fred.
Thank you.
My son, Buck, he's a fireman.
Engineer Curly Morgan of Melville is 52 years old. He's feeling pretty good these days because after 22 years of railroading, next week he's due to take over a passenger run. For 15 years now, he's been an engineer at the controls of freights. Before that, for 7 years, he was a fireman. His son, Ted, is a brakeman. Hopes someday to be a conductor.
Braking for about... Hi, Mom.
Hi, Buck. What kind of a trip did you have?
Oh, yeah, pretty good stuff, Mom.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, Buck.
Curly's eldest boy, Buck, is a fireman and eventually will be an engineer like his dad. He's been working all night and part of the day bringing in a freight from Rivers, Manitoba on its way west. Buck will have tonight at home and be going out again late tomorrow. Both these boys will spend several years in freight service before their seniority gives them a regular passenger run, and then only if they have accident-free records and perfect health.
Curly, what is this fascination the railroad holds for people? How do you feel about it?
Well, Fred, when I was a boy, I used to go down around the railroad and watch the engines and the trains and see them going out on their journeys and thought that someday I would want to do that, and I did. I guess now it's that every trip is different, each one kind of an adventure in itself, the kind of a challenge of getting your train over the road safely and on time.
Yes, I guess there would be a lot of satisfaction in that. Well, Mrs. Morgan, how do you feel about having 4 railroaders in the family?
I think it's just fine, but they really keep me going. Ted goes out about 6:45 tonight. Buck around 5 o'clock in the morning. Their dad is just going out now, and Jim will be coming in any time.
Which reminds me, I'd better be getting to work. Say, Fred, how'd you like to come down to the yard and meet my conductor, Phil Bellamy?
I'd love to. Well, I hope I see you folks again. Thanks very much, Mr. Morgan.
Here's my son, Jim. Jim, meet Fred Davis.
I do, Fred. Just going down to the yards with your dad.
Good, we'll see you around, eh?
Fine. So long.
Go on, Fred.
Hi, Jim.
Hi, Mom.
What kind of a trip did you have?
Melville, Saskatchewan, railroad town. Population, 4,500. There's some mixed farming in the area, some small local businesses, but over half the community directly dependent on the railroad for its livelihood. Train orders for Melville are phoned through by the dispatcher in Saskatoon, 191 miles west. In the Melville train order office, the operator types out the orders, and for a cross-check, another operator also copies out the orders at an intermediate point on the line. Each, in turn, then reads the message back to the dispatcher. A train can't move until the proper orders have been cleared by the dispatcher. These explain any reductions in speed, the number of stops, any changes in departure times, and so on.
Charlie, engine 65 knots now, SX, 5 NLT at Minneota. MINIOTA, JFB.
Railway clocks are regulated by daily time signals from Ottawa and Montreal. Even split seconds are considered in the interests of efficiency and safety. When the engineer and conductor book on duty, they check their watches with the master clock at the terminal and note down any variations in time. Later, they check watches with the rest of the crew. If a watch is out more than 30 seconds, it must be sent in for adjustment immediately. All watches must be inspected at least once a month. The engineer and conductor receive duplicate copies of each train order issued. At the beginning of a trip and at the first stop after new orders have been issued, each reads his copy of the order to the other aloud. The engineer signs the conductor's copy, and the latter signs the engineer's to certify that this double check has been carried out. The firemen and trainmen are also required to read every order aloud and to question any point they don't understand. Thus, every train crew member possesses full knowledge, and if necessary, can act on his own initiative to see that the orders are carefully followed.
Way to punish I. Number 2, late. This looks as if it's going to be kind of a slow trip, Phil.
Yes, it doesn't look too good.
Well, when you have to run slow like this, does that mean that you fellas can collect overtime?
Overtime? No, we don't get paid overtime. We work on a mileage basis. Our system of pay is kind of complicated, but I guess the easiest way to explain it is that we work by the mile, not by the hour.
Well, how does this work out? Is that a good system?
Well,
Well, it has its good points in this way, that a young man entering the service, he has to naturally work himself up, and he takes the poorer runs, longer hours, he's longer getting his miles in, and as he acquires seniority, he's able to bid on the better runs and faster trains, and he's home longer and probably possibly has a little more time to go fishing.
Let's check our watches, Phil. I have 15 o'clock and 35 seconds now.
Well, that's just 5 seconds faster than me, Curly. I guess that's close enough for us.
okay. Well, Fred, I'd better climb aboard. It's been a pleasure to have met you.
Thank you, Curly. Good luck on your trip.
Thank you.
I'll be with you in a couple of minutes, Curly. I gotta go over to the yard office. How'd you like to come over to the yard office, Fred, and meet our mayor?
Your mayor?
Yes, his name is Ray Bailey. He's our yard master for a couple of days, and the rest of the time he fills in switching. And the spare time, he's our mayor. Come on over and meet him.
I'd like to.
Will you get that, Ted, please?
22 o'clock, 22:15.
Yard office.
He
No,
might be
not
about
here.
20 minutes off, that's about all. Okay.
Well, that's that. Sorry to have kept you waiting, Fred, but we've been rather busy around here lately.
Well, that's okay, Mr. Bailey. I was just wondering what this board meant here.
Well, that's what we call our crew board. It gives us a record of all the different men working out of here.
Ah, so each card represents a man on duty.
Yeah.
You must have a tremendous amount of traffic pass through here in a day.
Yes, some days we handle as high as 20 trains a day, and we have ran, well, 1,000 cars through here in 24 hours. Most of them are broken down and diverted here, some going east, west, north, south.
Mr. Bailey, I've noticed on some of your CNR freights going by that you've got cars from all over the continent, from places like Santa Fe in the States and other companies. How on earth do you keep track of all these cars?
Well, Fred, each car must be accompanied by a waybill. On that waybill states where the car is from, where it's going to, and the contents. For example, a speed train coming in here from the west, and there's cars taken off going north. The conductors come into the yard office, receive their waybills, and they must check each waybill against each car on their train to make sure that each car goes to the proper destination.
Yard office. Yeah, he's here. How you doing, Del? Yeah? Yeah, I can tell him. Okay, sure. That was Del Seavey, the roadmaster, Fred. He's going out on a track inspection.
If you would like to go along for the ride, I think we can get special permission.
Well, that'd be wonderful. I guess I'd better run. Thanks very much, Mr. Bailey.
Quite all right, Fred. You're quite welcome.
Where will I find him, Ted?
You'll be down in a minute. Come on along, and I'll show you where to meet him. Well, how do you like Dell's convertible?
Is this what we ride on?
That's it.
That should be something.
It is. Oh, it'll do about 30 miles an hour.
And still stay on the tracks.
Oh, yeah. Dell's a good driver. He should be along here any minute.
Incidentally, Ted, what's your job here?
I'm a cop.
A cop? Oh, local police?
No, railway police. I'm a member of the CNR investigation department.
Well, if you don't wear a uniform, does that mean you're off duty?
Not necessarily, according to the job that we're working.
Oh, I see. What would your duties be here?
Oh, a number of things. Protection of company property and goods in transit. We're all qualified to render first aid and assistance to travelers.
How about transients? Do you still find people trying to hook rides on freights?
Oh, the odd one, but the day of the hobo in the jungle, they're past.
I guess those hobos were pretty colorful, weren't they?
Yeah, and troublesome.
Well, now, about stealing and pilfering, I think it'd be a tough job to try to knock off a boxcar.
It is, but it'd surprise you the number of things that can disappear if somebody isn't on the lookout.
Let's go.
Okay. What happens if you have a supercontinental crawling up behind you?
You almost, but quick.
It's a good way. It's a good thing to ride on now. Yeah, all right.
Hi, Roy. How are things going?
Pretty good. We've surfaced 2.5 poles so far.
That's good. Anything you need?
Yeah, the next time you come out, you can bring me out a coil.
Well, if you'll take my car up to the throw-off there and turn it around, I'll go in and get it for you now.
Okay, I'll do that.
How much track are you responsible for, Del?
65 miles, Melville to Welby. This, you know, is the main line of the CNR. And there are about, 20 trains a day roll over it. And it takes a lot of pounding.
I'll bet. What could happen to a rail, for example?
Oh, it could go out of surface, out of line, or it might be even damaged or broken. Now, that gang next one are changing out a bad rail today.
Looks like quite a tough job.
Yes, it is. The old section's got to be taken out and a new one put in, and they weigh about 1,300 pounds.
Oh. What happens if you've got a train coming along either way and you've got one of those sections out?
Well, that's all taken care of. You send a flagman out 2,000 yards, and he puts down torpedoes, and when the train comes along, it blows those torpedoes, and that warns the engineman.
I see. But Roy coming back?
Yes, it is.
Since I've been in Melville, I've certainly learned that once railroading gets in your blood, it's there to stay. Boomer Cardwell's a good example of that. Retired only a matter of days. And most evenings you'll find him down at the station watching the trains. And that's pretty much the way it seems to be. Now, this is Fred Davis saying goodbye from Melville, Saskatchewan, where the trains go through night and day, the year round. Thanks to such people as Del Seavey, Curly Morgan, Boomer Cardwell, and all the other dedicated railroaders across the country. Is to serve and service the railway, which in turn serves the surrounding area. I was soon to learn that there was a good deal of activity in a railway divisional point like Melville. One of my first contacts here was Bert Turner, who has been with the CNR for 30 years. Bert is general car foreman and supervises the inspection and repairs of all rolling stock, which takes in all freight and passenger equipment.
This switch crew, Fred, is making up a train for the north. Points at Yorkton, Flin Flon, and Hudson Bay.
Is that just a matter of putting the cars together?
Oh, no, it's not quite that simple. They have to put them in blocks so that they can take them off at intermediate points without disturbing the whole train.
Oh. I noticed when the super was in, Bert, that there were some men looking underneath. What were they checking for?
Well, they're looking for defects in couplers, draft gears, and wheels, things like that. Just the same as this fellow's.
Fred, I wanted to meet my wife.
Oh, how do you do, Mrs. Cardwell?
How do you do?
This gentleman come up from Rivers all the way with me in the last trip.
Oh, lovely. I hope you weren't too rough on him.
No, it was a nice ride. You must be very proud of your husband, Mrs. Cardwell.
Yes, indeed.
Happy to have him home all the time now?
Oh, very. We have so many plans.
Oh, then you're not going to be able to sit around and do nothing, Boomer.
Oh, no, I got lots of gardening to do.
Oh, she going to crack the whip on you?
Oh, yeah, she cracked the whip.
Well, Boomer, you meet her.
Thanks, Bob.
And you're carrying green for me.
Thanks, Bob.
You must be Bob McGrath. Boomer's been telling me about you. Nice to meet you, Bob.
Bob takes over.
Oh, he takes over from here, does he? Oh, that's fine. Well, I'll see you folks later.
Okay, bye.
Bye now.
Well, congratulations. Thanks, boys.
Congratulations. Good luck.
Thanks, boys.
Along Canadian railway main lines, coast to coast, there are spotted every 150 miles or so small communities like Melville, Saskatchewan. Their reason for existence? Hello, this is Fred Davis speaking to you from the locomotive cab of the CNR's new Super Continental as we move westward across the province of Saskatchewan. At the throttle is veteran engineer Boomer Cardwell, who today completes 50 years of railroading. That's half a century of service with Canadian National Railways. Boomer is a spry 65 years of age, and he's due now for retirement. So this is his last trip. Very shortly now, we'll be pulling into Melville, Saskatchewan, a small community whose main purpose it is to serve the railroad. We're stopping off at Melville to talk to some of the people who make railroading their career, just like Boomer here, for example.